You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Hello and welcome to Force 13 Live, another special live event today covering what is now Typhoon Chaba with winds of around 75 miles per hour and a pressure of 975 millibars. And there we are, our bottom bar showing up as well, along with the latest satellite imagery in front of us at this time. Now, Chaba is the main feature of this live event just now, but we do have to tell you some recent breaking news that Tropical Storm Bonnie has now formed in the southwest Caribbean Sea, and we will probably be doing more coverage on that later this evening in the American continent time zones. But for our Asian audience this evening, we're really covering Typhoon Chaba right now, which has caused now red typhoon warnings to be initiated in a significant part of southwestern or southern China in western Guangdong province, along with many other warnings to speak of as well. Storm gathering pace, gathering momentum. To be honest, not looking quite as good on its northern side as it did yesterday, but it does have a lot going for it, with massive cloud tops, particularly on the southern side, and an enormous influence with tropical storm force winds is now already over parts of Hainan and about to reach to the Hong Kong area. In the studio, my name is Nathan Foy once again. Nice to see you all, and I am joined by my team on this occasion. We have quite a few people. We have Jose, Christian, Kenneth and Sohum to join us just now. Just trying to get our windows open and running. I've got to press the right button first, that would be helpful, and then we can start discussing everything with them. So there they all are in this room here. One screen share undergoing as well. Let's say hello first to Kenneth though, because you're closest to the storm, and your opinion and analysis on it in the last 12 hours.
So, Chaba is still developing by slow down a little bit because of its broad size and persistent some northerly shear, which leads to the core not being so good, which takes quite some time to consolidate itself. Still, it's currently intensified a bit further. Right now, 75 miles per hour, 975 millibars. Well, most agencies are a line of 110 to 120 in estimates right now. Pretty much in agreement right now that based on satellite estimates. But well, pretty much one thing to note that its gale winds are pretty broad, around 200 kilometers wide in the western side, and even larger, 300 something, like around 350 kilometers at the eastern side, which is affecting the South China coast, the entire western Guangdong, and some part of Hainan. So by some surface observations, which reveals that the entire South China Sea, the offshore area, has been suffering from very strong, like over 20 millimeters, the 20 meters per second winds sustained with like hurricane gusts in exposed areas or high grounds right now. So let's go through a bit of warnings first right now.
Yes.
Red typhoon warnings in effect between Sichuan County and Wuchuan County, yeah, between those areas, near Leizhou Peninsula right now, just north of Hainan Island, are in red typhoon warnings and with yellow warnings. Can you upload the? Can you share the warning image here?
Oh, yes. Where have you posted that just now?
Live output.
Oh,
Live output a bit up, a bit upward.
oh, further up. As you can see, we're going through loads of different graphics there. There is a warning graphic showing everything that's going on there, and you can see those red typhoon warnings. Also at the bottom of our screen, you can see all those warnings too. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so red typhoon warnings in the westernmost of Guangdong, and then followed by orange and yellow warnings, extending all the way to west of Hong Kong. There are all yellow warnings and blue warnings extending up to entire Guangdong coast, which is expected to some showers and rough seas is affecting the coast right now with the showers for the blue warning areas. Of those under yellow warnings, pretty much inside the gale radius with you'll receive gale force winds and or higher in gusts, while in Hong Kong and Macau, number 8 southeast gale storm wind signals in force. Hong Kong Secretary issued it on 7:10 p.m. while Macau issued it of around 40 minutes ago at 9:30 p.m. and it's expected to remain in force at least before sunshine and may further sustain in the morning. Don't know as it continues to develop and only make landfall tomorrow afternoon in those areas near the red typhoon warning right now.
Let's just go and get some satellite imagery of all of the things that are going on right now. First of all, this shows another view of Chaba there, and looking very decent on that satellite imagery. Off to the right hand side, near the very edge of that image, you will see the other one that has been named recently, Airy or Airy. I'm not sure on the pronunciation on that, but there it is on the rapid scan, which has changed to that storm now. Doesn't look too great, quite honestly, but convection blowing up on the eastern side, devoid of it on the western side. But that is expected to strengthen a little bit further before reaching Okinawa. We're expecting a direct landfall there, as probably around 60 miles per hour, and then up towards either the Korean Peninsula or Japan, the main islands. We're not sure which way it's going to go yet. But I know that many viewers are tuning in this morning on the American continent will want to take a look at Bonnie. Well, there it is. There's some imagery of Bonnie right now, which has just become a named storm in the Atlantic Ocean. Recon finally found what they needed to find, the center, and they have got it, and all of that convection blowing up there. So tropical storm impact likely for Nicaragua and Costa Rica. They're expecting still a 60 mile per hour peak, and we will be able to pick up their latest update from the National Hurricane Center towards the end of this broadcast this hour. So we won't be talking about that much until later on. So if you are waiting on news on that, then stay tuned. But most of the bulk of what we're talking about today on this event is going to be about Chaba. We will be doing video updates throughout the day on the other storms as well, and a live tropical weather bulletin once again tonight. Christian, you've been watching closely as well. Your thoughts on Chaba today as you look at it?
Well, obviously it was only named yesterday, and since then has now just before we went live, actually, we received news that it had intensified to typhoon strength. And it's gone up quite quickly, hasn't it?
It was named about 36 hours ago, I think it was.
Was named, yeah.
I think the forecast has shifted back to the right-hand side again, as far as I understand. So when we were looking at Vietnam yesterday for quite a lot of heavy rainfall. It doesn't look to me as though it's going to be as much now. I don't know if Kenneth can corroborate that. We're still looking at several inches of rainfall there, but it is going to be China that cops all of it, with potentially up to 500 millimeters of rain.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I mean, when Chaba was first named, I was the one who made the sitrep, was posted to our social medias, and I mean to see that already, it's become typhoon strength. Uh, it's doing quite well for itself.
Yeah, so Kenneth, why don't you tell us about the how that analysis has been derived? Who's saying what right now in terms of the storm's strength, and yeah, all about that.
Yeah. So the current analysis, the Dvorak estimate is pretty stable right now at T4.0, which makes a 1 minute sustain around 65 knots a ton, 120 kilometers per hour from multiple agencies. Yeah, T4.0 pretty much so, set in stone. And then why don't we look around more stuff apart from the Dvorak analysis? We also have some radar microwave estimates, and also some maybe AIDT estimates, which also says similar, like around 65, not estimate 66, not here. While ADT or others coming a bit lower, a second below us at 55 to 60 knots, but the microwave estimates had really gone made AIDT up to 66 knots. So actually, microwave estimates themselves also support an intensity range of approximately 65 knots here, which align with what currently we're giving to you right now. Hong Kong Observatory's estimates of 110 kilometers per hour, 10 minutes sustain, which you divided by 0.93, which is what they're using, and it is recommended by the World Meteorological Organization using 0.93. It's also 65 knot 1 minute sustain. You can see in let's see the microwave images first. Oops. In recent hours, which you can see a very large banding to develop a huge banding eye there. You can see likely there's a small inner eye wall, but it is not really that good because owing to the shear which hinders the development overall and the consolidation which makes this broadside make it a bit difficult to organize itself and really intensifies. That's why the intensification rate really slowed down considerably over the past like 12 hours. Only like 5 knot increase a bit. Yeah, it is intensifying really slowly in recent hours. And you can also see in here a radar composite here is true radar not stimulated.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, you can see the eye wall still banding, a banding eye. Still there's a pretty decent radar eye at lower levels, but you can see it's not at that stable yet. You can see it's still roping around, but still with multiple fractures there, which signals it the eye wall itself, the inner core, isn't that consolidated still, though. It will continue to do its work because you can see the shear. Well, yesterday's a bit high. Regularly, it's roughly like 10 to 15 knot. Right now it's similar, but yeah, but the convection here really doing itself. You can see more convection in the center for consolidation, though the northern side still being really weak because you can see this this CT graph. The lower level is a northerly to northwest wind is moving northwest in direction right now currently, which the steering at the very low levels at the average northerly winds, which the current movement is also northwest. But you can see the higher levels easterly wind there, which is that's what we call the shear, the misalignment in the lower level wind at the higher level wind. That's much called the deep layer shear. Means shear 10 to 15 knots there easterly, which because this cyclone is warping anti-clockwise in north hemisphere, which will affect the next quadrant, which is the northern side being weak. The easterly shear making the northern side weak. in this case, which makes it really struggle to intensify render given its broad size and shear. Its structure is not really good either. Currently 75 miles per hour, expect like 5 to 10 miles per hour intensification further until landfall tomorrow afternoon based on China Meteorological Administration forecast and maybe JTWTC as well. It still expects intensification to typhoon status for for half more day for 10 to 15 more miles, which means around 20 kilometers further intensification, which is reasonable given its structure right now, which poses some considerable threat of sustained winds 140 and possibly higher gusts exceeding like 180 to 200 gusts possible.
Kilometers per hour.
Yes.
Could we go back to the radar imagery that you were showing, Kenneth? And I just want to point out how some of the reflectivity looking gnarly over Hainan Island.
Yeah, there's definitely some topographic effect that it has northerly inflow there, and then meets the land, and then rises, and then you can see those very red areas bringing torrential rainfall and very gusty winds to Hainan currently. We can see those bandings is also affecting western Guangdong, which also bringing gale force winds and gusts as the warnings and observations reported that what it is expected to be right now gale force wind at those red bandings in Hainan, and those yellow-green bandings just at the coast of China, right?
All right. And just backtrack all the way to the beginning again, and we'll talk. Just want you to describe to us the difference between the ADT and the AIDT now, because it might be the first that people have heard of that.
So ADT is a numerical estimation method invented by CIMSS in University of Wisconsin, which it is very much a description. ADT uses infrared temperature measurements from infrared to estimate TC intensity, which is a standardized a method to measure like the central temperature, the cloud top's temperature, and symmetry to estimate the TC intensity as a standardization. Because what the FOAC does is really do it manually, which there could be some discrepancy there, but ADT uses to make use of computer programming to standardize those things and make the intensity back in around correctly to 2005, 2006 it started to use global wide, then because the error of ADT sometimes is very high, especially for a category 1 intensity when the stereo signals are not as clear, which it relies on microwave eye adjustment, which also not as reliable as still, and for that's why this AIDT is invented, which a very brand new tool that is that has been pushed out since 2021, but they have 2020 since late 2020 archive. They have been using analog best track and reconnaissance observations since 2015, as they mentioned in their journal. Published in American Meteorological Society. They published the journal regarding AIDT. They used the best track to adjust the intensity from ADT using using deep learning. AI means pretty much a programming uses deep learning, machine learning, making use of that to use reconnaissance aided intensity estimation, and then you keyed it with infrared and microwave, and then you use it to adjust the ADT intensity to minimize the error made Yeah, which the statistical analysis also revealed that the AIDT error is less than ADT by like 4 to 5 knots, which is pretty resounding. Yeah, on par from like some remote sensing like SMAP or something, which is a pretty breakthrough that they further utilize the microwave data, the latest machine learning data technique to estimate the TC intensity. Well, there are more technique like I show here, like deep micronet or OpenAIR, which also use deep learning to estimate TC intensity. Though those two tools have a higher error compared to AIDT.
Impressive. The National Hurricane Center will have their advisory on newly formed Tropical Storm Bonnie fairly soon, so stay tuned for that. But most of this discussion remains about this current storm, Typhoon Chaba, which is now deemed to have reached typhoon strength with 75 mile per hour sustained winds and a pressure of 975 millibars. Let's take a look back at the JTWTC forecast graphic, and you can see there that they expect that typhoon status to continue for a little bit up until landfall. They're expecting an 80 mile an hour peak, and they're expecting the landfall there to be in about 24 hours. Is that right, Kenneth?
It is a 6 UTC cone, right?
I think it will be. I can't even read the text from here, so
06, yeah, that's 60 24 hours from 6 UTC, which means like
it's more about just over 12 hours
16,
then.
yeah, 16 hours, 16 or 17 hours, yeah, pretty much so.
You can always send us comments and questions, by the way. We'll cover any of the storms in your comments. But whilst we're just chatting here, we're mainly focusing on Chaba and its wind and rain threat as it approaches the coast of China. It is quite easily the highest priority system that we've got on the table right now. And I did even see someone earlier suggesting that it has a chance to get to Category 3 status. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Very broad, slow to intensify, and as Kenneth pointed out earlier, the rate of intensification is slowing. Some comments here as well. Sus Countries, very interesting name, says the JTWC has it still having 65 mile an hour winds. I think the ATCF will at least push it to 70 miles per hour. But yeah, it's pretty close. As we continue to look at this satellite imagery right now. Any thoughts on the other storm further to the east, Airy, which is... Let's just see if we can move this panel along. There we go. You can see more of that other storm now that is really looking atrocious on latest imagery frames. It had that convection going for a good while, but it's completely lost the plot since it got named.
So it got named like 14 hours ago.
Was it that long?
So yeah.
Damn, was that another one that got named just after we finished the bulletin? Not again.
So ASCAP have the a day ago suggested 14 knot, and currently satellite estimates are not having it intensify too much. Since past ASCAP patterns show support of 14 knots right now, it's still pretty much currently still 14 knots right now. Satellite estimates showing not much intensification because you can see it's still pretty much sheared from westerly shear right now. You can see the upper level trough just northwest of it. It's pretty much the main contributor of the shear, which makes which pretty much contributes to why there's a convection blow at the east. That the convection blow up. It just fire, vertically and then shear to the east. And right now there's a less convergence, and then goodbye the blob. And right now, the convection is still gone, but well,
It's a
these appearance
mess.
fluctuation may not mean that it really weakened. It's still pretty much a steady pace in intensity right now. It's holding its intensity right now. It's up level low. It's expected to weaken. Yeah, let me see. It had weakened and gradually opened up right now. At our approaches, it is the up-level weakness should provide a better environment to area and provide less westerly shear to our area with, and lead to further strengthening into a severe tropical storm by multiple forecasts and strike Okinawa before it peaks as a severe tropical storm.
It's not going to do an Ipartak, is it?
No. It is a true tropical system.
Right. We also had another question as to how fast Chaba is moving. I've just done a quick estimation, and I would say it's probably about 11 or 12 miles per hour.
Yeah, northwest 11.
Northwest at 11. We had loads of questions come in since then. Is Bonnie a tropical storm? Well, let's have another little look at it. And you guys, I don't know if anyone doesn't think it's a tropical storm at this point. I think it is. And I have pretty high standards. And I think it is. Having another look at Bonnie right now. There it is on the latest satellite imagery. Anyone want to chime in on that?
So for PTC2 has been named Tropical Storm Bonnie, because the recent reconnaissance craft. I can show a little bit. I can spend a 3 minutes discussing the system. Let's have a quick recon pan here. Boom. You share it. Here. But what I just put in this reconnaissance plane pass here. You can see a recon finally finds some close circulation. Although the southeastern side has been really weak here. Only 5 knot of winds to 0, but it based on visible imagery and the convection pattern, it is enough to call it as a tropical storm. You see a roughly close circulation, although southeastern side is still weak, but visible imagery have a roughly close center, and then you have the convection pattern. You can see some decent banding in central convection near the center, which makes it convection-wise, center-wise, able to classifiable as a tropical cyclone, and hence this gale force PTC. You can see those gale winds are from the northern banding, while the southern side is still really weak because of the still very fast movement right now. It's still moving incredibly fast right now.
That's more marginal than I thought. I'm not sure anymore. It's just, I mean, it's hovering around the point.
Yeah. It's pretty much maybe a bit marginal, but still acceptable. Because it has roughly close to core, and then the convection is pretty decent because of the extremely favorable setup at the Southwest Caribbean. Although it did not enjoy that until right now. Because of the very fast movement right now, it's moving west at 20 miles per hour. If it was stronger before it reached Southwest Caribbean, Bonnie, it would have been incredibly much more stronger and producing way much significant threat. But right now, unfortunately, it is weaker approach to Central America. That which brings a less threat, at least winds and also rainfall, although the currently rain bands and the more extensive gale winds at the northern side extending like 2 degrees northern side across, which it is affecting the oceans 2 degrees across at the northern side.
Now, we just had confirmation that the ATCF has updated Chaba to a 70 miles per hour tropical storm at this point, which is sort of what we were expecting. And Jose, you're showing us imagery of it from your side as well, infrared there. Is there anything you wanted to mention whilst we're looking at that?
I really don't really know yet. But,
Well, there it is nonetheless, and you can see from that western side massive amounts of convection there as well, which was contributing to that reflectivity spike. Massive bursts that just occurred there. So that's going to be occurring for a while, and there's going to be some pretty heavy rainfall out of that. More questions just now. Does Typhoon Chaba have a chance of being a Category 2?
Given the current structure and only 16 hours left, I say very unlikely. Its structure is still very broad, but the core is not so good, which
Yeah, I'm
needs
saying no
really
as well.
really many time to repair and consolidate, which makes strengthening the category 2 unlikely. It only will intensify up to like 80 to 85 miles 1 minute. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you were there
Category
on the Tropical Weather Bulletin, Kenneth, but at the end of it, we did the On This Day section, and it had Durian in 2001, July the 1st, which was a Category 1, pretty much following this exact same track. Just wondered if you've got any comments on that, anything you'd like to say?
during of 2001, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one is pretty much an analog as well.
it is.
Which, yeah, but I guess the wind field, as I have a rough look at the satellite imagery, it pretty much was small, a bit smaller than
Yep.
Chaba's influence, which the gale winds not really reaching those areas. But well, when I check the local winds record, pretty similar. There's southeasterly gale winds reported in Hong Kong, but the new territories, Hong Kong, and well, pretty much pretty weak winds. But this time, Chaba has more strong winds, I'll say. From what I see, Chaba bring more stronger winds to overall, but specifically higher winds. Not really, because currently, you can see. Well, I have to pull up radar if you want to talk about Ian, because it somehow has some relation. Let me share this my screen again. Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go.
All
So you can
right.
see your radar. You can see those banding are not really touching Hong Kong right now. It is really, the winds are blowing, but the rain is not. But the rain is not there. Pretty much right now. You can see Hong Kong is here, but the rain band is not really at the South China coast. Yeah, it still needs some time to approach, and it's not that strong as well. The rain band is still mostly at the western side and the southern side, as you can see here. The western side, southern side. Yeah, because of the structure and the shear, but Jury is definitely not that case. You can see it's kind of more symmetric. You can see Jury is kind of more symmetric than Chab. That's
is.
why. Yeah, the winds are those rains are distributed unevenly. If you want to say Durian is the analog, yeah, Durian Preparation, yeah, pretty much the best analog as of now. For very similar setup.
Now, there was a question about the other area of interest in the Atlantic, which we should take a look at. There it is. Let's just try and blow up the image. And that's looking pretty good, actually, blowing up some decent amounts of convection just off the off Barbados, actually, right now. And the question was whether that has the chance to become Colin. Oh, God, don't remind us that that's the next name on the list. At the moment, it's got a 10% chance, but it is putting up a bit of a fight right now, so you never know. At the moment, the general consensus is no. What else did we have? There was something else that came in that I was looking for regarding Vietnam. Will north of Vietnam be hit by the Chaba? I like that. The Chaba. That's great. So
It is unlikely.
the threat to northern Vietnam has decreased.
Yeah, pretty much after it make landfall, it will drift north to northeast afterwards, like here. You can see it becomes Typhoon P, and then it will drift towards more northward, and then go to inland China, and without touching the north of Vietnam. Yeah, so it's increasingly unlikely right now.
Soham, are you there at this point? Anything that you'd like to add?
At the moment, not really.
Ah. Okay, excellent. Once again, here are the two storms in the Western Pacific, looking at the full picture on their latest frames progression. Just had a new image come out at my end here. Just to give you a little idea of the distance from land, Chaba is approximately about 140 kilometers east of the eastern tip of Hainan. From Hong Kong, approximately 360 kilometers. From Macau, around 300. And from Zhanjiang, which may well be close to, if not the landfall zone, 270 kilometers at the moment. Tropical storm force winds are likely occurring on Hainan already at this point, and will continue up the Su Peninsula fairly soon. Kenneth, we were talking just before we went on the air about the strongest winds you've received in Hong Kong so far. Do you want to relay those observations again?
Sure. So, at 8:30 to 9:30 p.m., Ngong Ping, Chuan Chak Beach, and Wackland Island recorded 101, 69, 65 kilometers per hour with maximum gust 125, 95, and 79 kilometers. But if you want to see some very latest wind observations, sure, have that.
Okay.
Wait a moment. 3, 2, 1, go. So, mean wind here. You can see the coastal areas, marginal gale, force wind, Chapman, Wackland Island, Chuan Chau, and Chuan Chau Beach. You see, near or have reached gale force winds here. 1, 2, 3, 4 here.
Yep, and those ones are at
Easterly
sea
winds,
level.
and then, like between like 27 to 98 meters above sea level.
Okay.
Yeah. We can call near sea level for within 100 meters above that. For some more mountainous here on Ping 96, and then mountain here takes current 75, you can see much higher sustained winds. But those some offshore areas in the airports, near airports, and then the Western Territories and near the Victoria Harbour, you can see those strong force winds will be 41 to 62 kilometers per hour, affecting near the coast of New Territories and airports and the Victoria Harbour, and gusts even higher. You can see gale force winds all the way in Victoria Harbour, and then as well as those coastal areas, 70 something, and even 80 something. And Phnom Penh here, the most exposed mountain, even 119 gales for a very high place here. You can see some near gale winds near the airports area here as well.
Fascinating. Very interesting to see perspective on Hong Kong there. Some more questions. Will Tropical Storm Chaba rapidly weaken as it makes landfall? I don't think it will.
Considering just how much of moisture, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, from what I've reanalyzed in the past, from doing storm reanalysis of this area in the past, I have seen some storms just maintain and hold tropical storm status while staying inland. in this specific region. So it is possible. It could not weaken as rapidly as we might think right now.
It does tend to be fairly on the slow side, but it does happen eventually. And someone was asking once again about a swirling cloud over eastern Russia. I'm not familiar with that, but let's have a look at the wide shot of the Western Pacific and see what's over there. I'm not seeing much there, if I'm being honest with you. If there is anything, it's frontal or extratropical. I'm not seeing
Most
anything out
likely,
of the ordinary on that
most likely
picture.
it's a cyclone.
Yeah, not seeing anything out of the ordinary on that picture there, so... Kenneth, you just had that warning map up there. Why don't we go back to that and have another little refresher on the current warnings in China ahead of Chaba right now.
Okay, so currently let's start at the very western side of Guangdong because it is where it will make landfall. It's expected to make landfall. So in Wuchuan, Zhanjiang, between Wuchuan, Zhanjiang, and Shuan County, in this Neizhou Peninsula, is currently a red typhoon warning, orange typhoon warning in effect for Hainan here. Not showing the map because it's for Guangdong, just south of this here. Hainan is currently orange. And then from Huazhou, Maoming, Dianbai, and all the way to Yangjiang is orange warning here. Pretty much storm force winds possible as a near landfall because here's where it's expected to make landfall here,
Yep.
right around here. So here may upgrade later, but it currently is orange right now. And then you have the more just the layer, the one more layer east of Guangdong. It is a yellow, which pretty much means the gale winds are possible right imminent to the next 24 hours. And here you have Macau, Hong Kong, not showing you the map. You have number 8 southeast gale or storm wind signal in force right now is expected to maintain at least until early tomorrow morning. And then you have, and the north of that you have entire eastern Guangdong all the way to the western Guangdong and more inland. You have blue warning here, and then somewhere you have white, which is the standby signal, but most here blue at the northern side. And then the next layer here, a yellow warning, gale force winds pretty much will cover those areas. And then you have closer one more layer south of those counties and cities. You have Zhanjiang here, pretty much orange warning, storm force more imminent threat here, and pretty much may increase to red as it moves closer, as the Zhanjiang will be the expected landfall position here. In case there is any change, then the nearby position will turn red then. And then currently the red warnings, the most imminent threats, those main rainfall and hurricane force wind threat will soon arrive there tomorrow morning, and from later tomorrow morning, and then up to landfall. Probably the effect will sustain until at least tomorrow night.
Let's go back to some more satellite imagery on the RAM floater.
I should probably come in and say that the Lewis JTWTC code,
Oh, is it?
yeah, it's on the live output chat.
We'll be able to show it on here as well. Alright, so there's the latest from the JTWC showing the storm's current strength at 60 knots, according to them. Expecting a 70 knot peak very soon. And I'm sure that track has shifted towards the right hand side again, and they're now going for a landfall very close to Maoming, I believe, Kenneth.
It's pretty more north than what others may expect. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, more have been saying that it is near. Oops. near Wuchang and Zhanjiang, but this one, it goes really east to just west of Yangtze. Yeah, near Maoming.
Yeah,
No,
so
that's even in Yangtze here. Near
they're
here.
expecting
And that's
JTWC's
really
latest cone
towards
projecting a
north.
landfall well into that orange area rather than the red.
Yeah, yeah. That's considerably more north than the past. And even compared to the track forecast 6 hours ago.
So an interesting development there, and one that I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. It looks pretty set that it's going to continue something like the current movement that it's been doing. It forecasts a very slight turn to the right-hand side from the storm's perspective during that time, and then that becomes much more pronounced after landfall. So yep, interesting developments. Perhaps it might start to weaken just a little bit before landfall as well. What do we think about that? Just inferring from the 70 knot peak, which is well offshore, and the 55 knots it has just after it makes landfall, sounds to me as though they think it might weaken a little bit before the landfall.
Maybe not. It just because that time span it had made landfall. Pretty much, at that point it must weaken. That point to down to tropical storm state. It pretty much will remain at roughly 70 knots landfall from JTWTC.
Just inspecting that close-up imagery again, looking at the RAM there, how the convective cloud tops have been blowing up again, mainly on the southern side. Still quite bare on the northern side though in those later frames, so it is running a little risk there. We're also waiting with very eager eyes about the National Hurricane Centre's update on Bonnie, which will be its first full advisory on what is now a tropical storm. As soon as that drops, we'll bring it to you. It could be any minute now. In the meantime, we'll take some more questions about any of the storms that we've got around the world right now, because I think we've done most of the bulk of.
Just one more thing. It's just in that the JTWC is fixed P4.0 for the latest bulletin. So so I guess we should expect a 65 knots from them around 18Z.
So they're giving it a T4.0, which usually corresponds to 75 miles per hour. Wonder what the reason is that they haven't pulled that trigger then.
Yeah. Maybe later. Yeah. I'll say so. Pretty much later. It is likely. The latest Hong Kong Observatory warning. Hong Kong Observatory issues hourly warning once they issued warning signal in Hong Kong. The number 8 southeast gale storm signal is still in force at 11 p.m. Severe Tropical Storm Chaba will center above 340 kilometers southwest of Hong Kong, near 90.6 degrees north, 112.6 degrees east, and is forecast to move northwest about 16 kilometers per hour in general direction of the coast of western Guangdong, which over the past hour, the maximum sustained winds recorded at Phnom Penh, Chen Beach, and Wagland Island were 103, 73, and 64 kilometers per hour, with maximum gusts 129, 96, and 78 kilometers per hour respectively. Still pretty much gale to storm force winds at exposed areas. So for precautions, continues to exercise all precautions in the home, lock all windows and doors, insert reinforced shutters and gales if they're available. Adhesive tape fixed to large windows panes in exposed position reduce damage injury by broken glass. Drainage be cleared and leaves and rubbish as soon as possible into storm surge, and then low-lying areas may have serious flooding or backflow of seawater. May not be that serious, but those storm surge and those downpour may really cause some kind of flooding, and please avoid to go to low-lying areas still and stay away from dangerous places. Do not stand near windows or exposed to the side of your home. You'll really you likely get hurt if the debris destroy those windows. Yeah, make sure you have a safe place to shelter. should windows broken, as I said, owners on the on-site should switch off the electric supply to the site in case those signs really fall down. It will cause less danger because no electrical supply. And then listen to radio, watch TV for latest weather information forecast, as well as the observatory's website and mobile app for more information.
Indeed. We've had a few more comments about will there be a West Pacific threat after these two storms? Nothing obvious.
Regarding that, I have seen some long-range signals, but they're just long-range signals for now. So, for the foreseeable next 5 to 10 days, nothing so far.
No. Just looking at the wide shot again, there's a question about Airy, about whether it will become a typhoon or stay as a tropical storm. It shouldn't become a typhoon. We're expecting maybe a 60-mile-per-hour peak, which isn't even, I think it's just about actually on the threshold of severe tropical storm. So it might get the STS status from Japan as it goes on and affects the Okinawa and the western coast of Kyushu perhaps later on. And we've not shown the forecast for that storm yet either, so let's just see if we can bring that up. I know that Kin posted a lot of graphics earlier to show you tropical storm wind fields risk, and there is a graphic showing what you can expect from Airy, and you can see there that very high chance of tropical storm force winds for parts of the Ryukyu Islands, and then after that the chances get skewed across a little bit there because we're not really sure yet whether it's going to be a Korean Peninsula landfall or a southern Japan landfall that we're in for on that one just yet. But what's likely is by that point it will probably still be a mid-range tropical storm that will bear watching. We will stay on the air until we get the update on Bonnie, which has still not arrived yet. And usually they are very early with these things, but I guess not this time. So we'll digest all of that information whilst we're on the air as well before we finish up. But of course our main feature during this stream today was Chaba, Bonnie getting in the way a little bit. But of course we cover everything out there, and we will be having standalone updates on our channel later on, so subscribe to us if you haven't already for the latest updates. And tonight we'll have a live tropical weather bulletin once again, and that is at, was it 8 AM Hong Kong time, and that is 8 PM on the US East Coast and 7 PM Central, just to give you an idea of our little schedule there. I'll open the floor to the team here. Anything that anyone would just like to add whilst we wait for new info? Don't be shy. I guess not. They're all tired of the storms already.
Yes, we are.
Let's look at Jose's screen right now, showing another variant of the infrared imagery, and that's looks like it's Ram Slider. Oh, we've got the update on Bonnie. Alright, so information right now. The government of Nicaragua has discontinued the hurricane watch for the Caribbean coast and issued a tropical storm warning for the Pacific coast. The government of Costa Rica has upgraded the tropical storm watch to a tropical storm warning for a portion of the Pacific coast. So a tropical storm warning right now is in effect for San Andres, Colombia, which is that small island in the northern side of the storm there, that small long one. Limon in Costa Rica, northwards to Sandy Bay Surpi, Nicaragua. Cabo Blanco, Costa Rica, northwards to the border of Nicaragua and Honduras. I think that's on the western side. A tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions are expected somewhere within the warning area, in this case within 12 hours. Interests elsewhere along both the Caribbean and Pacific coasts of Nicaragua and Costa Rica, as well as the Pacific coasts of El Salvador, Guatemala and southern Mexico, should monitor the progress of this system. 40 miles per hour at the moment, 1005 millibars. Expected to make landfall at 50 miles per hour, and then expected to move into the eastern Pacific, a rare crossover storm, and they are expecting a hurricane in there. I don't think they'll have changed the cone very much from reading that.
It's worth noting that the last crossover like this was 6 years back with Otto.
Yeah, but I don't really count that because it didn't go very far in the eastern Pacific.
If we were to discuss it in that sort of metric, then the last true crossover in that case would have been Cesar Douglas.
Indeed. So we're going back 26 years there for the last crossover storm, proper crossover storm that actually had a proper life in the eastern Pacific, as this one should do. We'll just read out some of the discussion here. It's Tropical Storm Bonnie has formed this morning over the western Caribbean Sea. Well-organised deep convection persisted into the morning, and the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter mission found a well-defined circulation, well-defined apparently, located about 100 nautical miles east of the Nicaragua coast. Flight level winds of 44 knots in the northeast quadrant, and SFMR data of 33 knots surface winds, supporting an initial intensity of 35 knots, and I've got another mission going in there today. Currently moving just south of due west at 260 degrees on the bearing at 17 knots, and has tracked slightly further south than the prior forecast. So just a slight change, I would imagine, to that forecast south then. Expected to make landfall late tonight near that border between Nicaragua and Costa Rica, and then expected to emerge over the eastern Pacific waters on Saturday and turn west-northwestward and track parallel to the coast of Central America and Mexico for the next several days. Track guidance is in good agreement. ECMWF, the northernmost solution closest to land but remains offshore. New forecast is slightly south of the previous forecast. Interesting coastal El Salvador, Guatemala, and southwestern Mexico should continue to monitor Bonnie's progress. Low shear and warm SST environment, and is expected to intensify during the next 12 hours prior to landfall. Obviously, they're giving up on it potentially reaching hurricane status because there's just not enough time, 12 hours, until we reach that landfall. So that's Bonnie, which is now a proper formalized thing. They did the update statement at 9:15 a.m. Eastern time, and now at 11 a.m. They've got it properly in their full advisory. Any comments?
One quick thing: the cone for Bonnie is out. If anybody wants to take a look at it.
That was quick. Is that that's not the latest on my end just yet. There it is. So that's the very latest cone there, showing the areas of tropical storm warnings in blue.
Actually, there's a newer one. There's a newer one now. Advisory 16.
Yeah, we're on 16. So a pretty straightforward track there, and an unlikely crossover storm is about to become certified. And then who knows what it will do in the eastern Pacific. I think that last hurricane point on day 5 there is probably going to be around its peak. National Hurricane Center think it'll be around 75 knots at that point. We're not gonna. I mean, they looked at the eastern Pacific Ocean heat content last night, and it is absolutely atrocious. And it's not getting better; it's getting worse right now. So I don't know what the highest storm potential is there.
It's anything of note. The forward speed is decent enough to at least slightly offset the ocean heat content problem.
Kenneth, just a question here. With the heat content so bad in the eastern Pacific, is it impossible to get a Category 5 storm?
Lack of content, well, it really well, because in the Category 5 you need very much heat flux for to sustain a system. It really will take so much heat content and the surface temperature as well.
So you're saying no?
I don't have really much that recording that low heat content has a category 5. I can't really recall one that
I was
that
just
has a
curious.
Well, if
really
it's any
near low
consolation,
content but have category 5.
well, if it's any consolation, Patricia actually became attained its peak under atrocious content values for the time. So you never know.
Yikes. Well, that'll give Ethan a little bit of a lifeline then.
Oh dear.
There we go. That's the end of our update today. It's been great having everyone on board.
I should mention the track of Asani is premiering right about now as well.
Yeah, so if you want more viewing, you can take a look at that. But we're finishing up here at Force 13 HQ. We'll have more updates throughout this evening, today, wherever you are around the world, and our live tropical weather bulletin at 8 a.m. Hong Kong time, which is what time is it in the US? 8 p.m. US East Coast, 7 p.m. Central. That's it from us at Force 13 HQ. Have a good evening, day, morning, wherever you are, and we'll see you again soon.